Awesome. All right, we'll just go right into it and then every other person will join us while at it. Yeah, next slide, Merit. Awesome. Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, my name is Ayomide Olude, and I am the project manager at the Eco Anxiety Africa project. And we are all here for our end of the year webinar where we will be sharing what we've been up to this year, and we'll be getting a couple of testimonials from our special speakers. And then would also wrap up with our future plans and vision for 2026, and then we'll open the floor for discussion after that. Awesome. So before we go ahead, there is something that we really like doing at TEAP, as it is our name, the Eco Anxiety Africa project. We, focus on environmental related emotions and how, climate change and planetary crisis in general is impacting mental health and also well-being for everyone. And one practice that we really love to do at TIP is a grounding session, just to bring everyone into the room and just settle into the space. So we are just going to do this for a minute, um, and then just wherever you are, and if you'd also like to turn on your video, that would be nice. But if not, wherever you are, just um, I hope you are seated, but if not, try to be comfortable and make sure your feet is planted on the ground. That's if you are sitting, just try to relax and release the tension in your shoulders, in your jaw. You can also close your eyes or soften your gaze, and then begin to pay attention to your breath while doing this. So you can just start slowly. Just take a slow breath through your nose or mouth. You can hold for 4 counts and release. I would just like to go over that again. For those just joining us, we are currently having a grounding session to bring everyone into the room. And the idea is to relax. If you are seated, just relax into your seat. Make sure your feet is like solidly on the ground, feeling supported by the ground. If you want to close your eyes, you can do that. If not, you can also soften your gaze and then just take a slow breath. You can take the breath in 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and then exhale in 4 counts. So that's breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, and exhale. All right, so if we can just do this 2 more times individually. Awesome. So you can begin to bring your attention back into the space. Open your eyes if you had them closed. You can also turn on your videos now and just, roll your shoulders and release any last tension with one deep breath. Thank you. Next slide. Please do turn on your videos if you can. I can only see myself and it feels like I'm talking to myself. And I can see we have uh about 16 guests, 20 guests, yeah. So I'd like to see more faces. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah. So before we share about our work at TEAP, we would like to just have what we call a Zen Cafe session, which is like a climate conversation. Um, and these are the prompts that we have for you. 2025 has really been like a challenging year for everyone, and this is me speaking as a Nigerian living in Lagos. We experienced unprecedented heat waves. That's like the first thing. Even rainfall. Right now, it is currently raining in Lagos, or it is still raining. We literally had like rain 2 days ago, and well, in the past, we know that December in Lagos is Amatan, where we have dry season and it's kind of cold. And but we are not experiencing that. We are still experiencing rainfall. So these are like physical changes that we've been experiencing based on the weather. So I would just like to throw it to the room. The first question, you know, for anybody that would like to go first. How have changes in your local weather patterns impacted your mental health or feelings of well-being in 2025? So if anyone would just like to unmute, you can raise your hand or just go ahead to speak. While we wait for somebody to share the to take the floor, I will just go ahead with my experience. So like I said, we've experienced unprecedented heat waves in Nigeria or in Lagos recently, and or through the year, and also constant rain, and that has been a lot for me. Not being able to not being able to first of all, like not being able to pinpoint particular things or say, okay, like the weather change, for example, it's very difficult because I'm expecting Amatan and there is no Amatan. So, that's like I think I'm struggling to really to be in this new reality that it can keep raining in December basically for me. Yeah. So that I think that's one for me. So I don't know if anyone would also like to share. And if we are feeling shy, I would also share a poll right now. You should have it on your screen. So you can also just use the poll and let us like get a sense of your overall well-being. Thank you. So the question is, how would you rate your sense of well-being in relation to environmental concerns in 2025? If you can't see the poll, please let us know in the chat. But there is these three dots that pops up on the screen, like whether with a laptop or a mobile device that you can click on, and then the poll shows up. Thank you. We can see some responses. How will you rate your overall sense of well-being? Well, most people are moderate. Concern about the environment is pretty high, well, halfway high, then very high. Yeah, that's concerning. To what extent have environmental concerns affected your daily emotions? Okay, most people moderately. Then we also have high. How secure do you feel about your local environment's future? Hmm, looking pretty low right now. Yeah. We've only got 9 people on the poll out of 19. If you have any challenge using the poll, please let us know and we'll help with that. It should automatically pop up on your screen, but if not, there is this more three dots icon that you can click on where you would see the poll um, and it will pop up. But yeah, thank you to those who have participated so far. We'll leave this on for a few more minutes before we go on. Oh, Emeka says it's not popping up. Have you clicked on the more icon? Whether like with a mobile device or um, a laptop, you should see more icon or even on your phone. So you should see, yeah, a poll icon. If you're also using your device, you'd see like a barcode icon or a bar chart icon. I hope this helps, Emeka. But if anyone would also like to unmute and speak to why they feel this way or any experience that they would like to share, please do that. All right, awesome. Glad you sorted that, Emeka. I would really like to hear somebody come up and share a testimonial or like a story. Mm, yeah. I think what stands out to me on this poll is like this our sense of well-being is moderate. And then we have high, so that's fair. But generally moderate. I guess like we've all been trying to balance. I feel like moderate is like the middle ground, and like we are trying to balance it all, which is pretty hopeful. Mm. Sad to see that we still feel very low about our future. Yeah, please go on, Taylin.
Thanks, Ayo. Hey, everyone. Yeah, I think I'll just share a little, just to maybe give some insights on how we're feeling in Durban right now. Yesterday, it was, I think, 35 degrees Celsius. I think at the highest, 36, and extremely humid. Um, and then tomorrow and going into the weekend, we're expecting rain and thunderstorms. And for Durban, it's kind of we're used to the heat, especially in December, um, going into the Christmas season. It's always really warm. Beaches are usually packed, and over the last few years, we're finding that it's becoming incredibly unpredictable. Um, you don't know. Usually, this is the time when we're all going off. We're all connecting and gathering with our communities, with the family, and it's getting harder to plan this because we don't know what the weather's going to be like, and especially at the different extremes at which we're facing it. And sometimes it's so easy to separate this from the work that we do, and how this impacts people's livelihoods, how it impacts them every day, their health, uh, and the gap between the work around social justice and the lives that we live, especially when we go on holiday, is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think that's something that's really at the forefront. And um, if they would like, I'd like to invite some of our other people from Durban that are here in the call to also share.
Yeah, you're putting them on the spot. All right. I should have done that for folks in Lagos too. So anyone wants to take. But yeah, I totally, relate to that. Like the weather is just it is intense, to put it mildly. It is like I don't even understand because these are really like new temperatures that we haven't experienced. So coping is even something that, how do we even cope? Like like for example, you see buildings in Lagos and the windows are narrow and not a lot of airflow, and there is this window style that is just one louver kind of thing. So it's like it's just one part of the window that is even open, even though it's narrow. So, like, how do people cope in that kind of situation when you don't have electricity at night? How do you sleep? When there is no airflow. I don't think architects really think about, building styles and how that impacts well-being. So, like you said, it's a lot and it's interconnected, and it's also like a social justice issue. Thank you so much for sharing. Any other person want to share? I'm going to end the poll now. Any other person would like to? Merit, can we have the questions pop up again? You can also speak to how you've been coping so far, you know, how you've been coping with whatever challenge that you've been having, environmental wise. Any takers? Tailing puts people in Durban on the spot. I'm also calling people in Lagos. Please do share on how you felt this year about the environment or how you've been coping so far. Um, yeah. All right, thank you, Merit. We have the questions on the screen right now. For those just joining us, we are speaking to the prompts on the screen, how changes in our weather pattern has impacted us so far this year, or like what coping strategies have also helped you cope, around that. Are we to call names? Nancy, do you want to let us know how it has been like in Abuja? I think that's a different part of Nigeria. We also have Sumishin from Kano, because we've spoken about our experience in Lagos. It would be good to hear about other experiences.
Yes, I would gladly want to share my experience, especially here in Abuja. Through the year, um, let me start with the heat wave. Yeah, it was so uncomfortable around the month of March, April, and May. It's been so, the weather has been kind of heat, and we had these experiences of power surges, power outage, and I wonder how people cope too. And most times when you flee to your room, you try to want to stay out, and when you stay out, there are a lot of mosquitoes to eat you. So you end up treating malaria and all. Like I think from my experience, I've been treating malaria almost every after 2 months through the year. And then coming down to the Harmattan period now is somehow extremely hazy and a lot of dust in the air, bad air, and you find people coughing, sneezing, and all. I experienced cold too, just of recent, and it's been a lot, quite, but we've been pulling through. And yeah, from the weather forecast I'm seeing right now, currently we are at 30 degrees and it's too sunny. Usually December's are, of course, Harmattan periods and it's expected to be cold and chilly, but the experience is somehow different at the moment. So I don't know what the future holds, but I just believe it will be better ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Nansel. Yeah, and like Svetlana said, you can also share in the chat if you're more comfortable with that. You can choose from any of the questions and respond to them. We have 5 more minutes. Any other person wants to go? I think we have spots for like 2 more people to share their experience. And even if this is something that maybe you've not noticed, and is like new to you, would also like to hear that experience because um, a lot goes on, and sometimes it might be hard to pay attention to some other stuff. So if this is also like a new thing for you, would like to hear that. Yeah, no, the eat is just different. Like I feel like with the cold, you can always wear multiple layers or something, like if you get too cold. But with the heat, like there is a final layer and you can't pull your skin off and it's like what is going on? Like what can
Hi, good morning, everyone.
good morning. Go ahead, please, Tumishi.
Yeah, so I think for me, I think one of the biggest concern this year has been the inconsistency in the weather, right? For now, we know that this particular month, this is the weather to expect. But now there's been a lot of whatever comes is what, you really can't plan around how the weather is because it's quite surprising that in December it is still raining. For example, in Lagos, that is very unusual, and that has also affected a lot of things. And like Nancy mentioned earlier, with rain, and also about there's been a lot of mosquitoes, there's been increased activities from mosquitoes, let me put it like that, because of the weather and the climate, which is which also sort of affects our health from, that's like one of the side effects or like the cause of mosquitoes, which sort of lead to malaria and having to treat malaria. And so it's like a cycle that we've had to deal with. But for me, basically, for me, generally, I think it's been like, I don't know, three, moderate in terms of sense of well-being and coping strategy. Basically, I'm always going everywhere with a cardigan or a sweater because it may be hot this minute and the next minute everywhere is cold, and it can be quite hard to deal with sometimes. Yeah, so that's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Tumishi. I relate with that. I've been going all around with an umbrella. And as a Gen Z babe that likes carrying small bags, like that really affects me. But then now I have to carry like larger totes because I need to carry an umbrella with me wherever I go to protect from either the rain or sun, whatever comes up. And also drinking lots of water. I get that also helps. Yeah, so now I'll be handing over to Merit. I'm thanking you all that have shared and also everyone who filled the poll. Thank you for sharing how you feel. And we are all here together to make sense of it and also to find solutions. So yeah, so over to you, Merit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayo, for that wonderful session. I don't know if it's only me, but I'm always excited about Zen cafes. Yeah, so everyone, my name is Merit. I work as comms associate for TEAP, and I'll be guiding us through the next session, which is a really fun activity. Yeah, so I hope I'm audible. Ayo, can you confirm?
Yes, hear you loud and clear.
All right. So for this activity, it's going to be very short and very fun. So I'll need everyone to sit up wherever they are. Just sit up, make sure your back is straight against the chair or whatever furniture you're sitting on. And then we'll just look around us briefly, quickly. But before doing that, let's choose a color, a random color. It could be anyone from the screen. There's green, there's blue, there's yellow, there's red. So pick any random color, then look around you for an item or items that fit that color. And if you do not see any item that fits that color, that's also okay, right? Then wherever you are, if you have a paper and a pen, you can quickly write down the items that you spot that fit the random color that you chose. Okay, can we quickly do that? And it'd be nice if we can also share the items that you find in the chat. You could quickly just type it out. Okay, I saw a red cup or a red slipper, or I'm looking at a blue wall. So whatever item. Okay. Okay, let's do that quickly. It's supposed to be short and fun and sweet. So this activity is just a way to bring us back to the present, to the room. I can see someone, Madam Love sees a yellow paper, yellow slippers, awesome. And this one he picked pink, and she can see a pink jersey, awesome. Okay, a red gambling controller, wristband, handle, awesome. There's a red cup, box, pipe, and red bag, red in bag. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Awesome contributions. I still want to see more though. Okay, there's a blue duster from Latifa. Interesting. So you might be wondering, like I was saying, what does this activity do? It helps us improve focus so that we can bring our attention back to the room and follow the rest of the discussion, because trust me, we still have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Okay, Emmanuel picked blue and he's lying on a blue bed sheet. How nice is that? All right, more contributions, please. Ayo, I'd like to see your contribution.
I shared already. I chose pink. I'm currently in a pink room, so everything is pink.
Okay, Ruby, a blue handbag. Timishi sees a black glass bag and shoe. Okay. More contributions. Nansel picked green, and he can see a colorful Christmas tree. Wow, Nansel, you are way ahead of everyone here, already in the season. I envy you a bit. A bright red reusable drinking bottle from a new event. Nice. Svetlana can see green books, jumpers, and pillow. Okay. Dr. Steven can see. Okay, he picked green and he's looking at all these plants. Oh, must be beautiful. Okay, we'll just take some more contributions and then we'll move on to the next session. For those just joining, we are doing a fun, mindful activity where we select a random color and then look for items around us that fits that color. To me, picked blue, and she can see a blue sofa, a blue phone call, and a book. Nice, 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 nice. More contributions. And Yemiat is forming a gang in the chat. Interesting. All right, who is going to be the last contributor? One more contribution. And I've not seen anyone say they couldn't find the color that they picked. It's okay to also share that. It's all part of the practice. Okay, for me, I should also participate. I picked the color green and I can see a small tube, a small green tube here. Yeah, that's for me. All right. So I hope that this little activity has been able to bring us back to the room, after contemplating the weather and its effect on our emotional well-being and all of that. So we are now going to move ahead to the next session. Where I'll be handing over to Svetlana. Yeah, I'll be handing over to Svetlana here. Over to you, Svetlana. Thank you.
Thank you, Merit. And hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar. So I'm just going to share some of the things that TEAP has managed to achieve this year. This is one of our biggest years so far, where we've been able to have a lot of impact and scale our work. So it's exciting to be able to share that with everyone today. Next slide, please. Yes, so this year our work managed to bridge generations across Nigeria to validate their eco-emotions and explore sustainable coping strategies. So we were able to create a project I'll talk more about, which is intergenerational bridges in 3 cities in Nigeria. We were also able to empower young people to facilitate climate conversations in their communities and promote local research and indigenous solutions. Next slide, please. So the first project I'll talk about is our ongoing research project, which is Impact. And I'm sure Dr. Stephen will speak more about that when he shares the work with us. But essentially, in 2023, we first conducted a pilot study on climate change and mental health across 5 Anglophone West African cities. And we were just looking at different factors that exacerbate mental health, so such as pollution, flooding, unemployment, government inaction, etc. And this study is being expanded through our impact project. And now what we're doing what we have been doing is identifying how urban exposures and climate risks shape the psychological well-being of urban youths in Nigeria and in Ghana. And we're also documenting the challenges faced by young people as they experience and adapt to climate-related hazards. Next slide, please. So we've took on a few research methods. So firstly, it's in-depth interviews. We're really trying to understand the breadth of impact that happens to one's mental health because of climate change in urban settings. So we've spoken to 25 young people interviewed in Accra and Lagos. And our target population has been urban youth aged 18 to 30 who reside in both cities. And obviously through our work, safeguarding is really important. So they were informed about the consent process and debriefed after the interview. And they were also compensated for their time. So as I mentioned before, we did this in Lagos and also in Accra. Next slide, please. So our outcomes for this research project is just to have contextual understanding of how climate change affects mental health amongst urban youth. So even in this call, when Aya was facilitating the Zen Cafe, there are different ways that it's impacting young people. And we want to make sure that there's more research that evidences that. So this is how we're doing that through impact. We're also trying to identify the risk and protective factors that influence resilience and recommendations for culturally relevant mental health adaptation strategies and policies. And lastly, just to ensure that there's baseline data to inform our future studies. Next slide, please. And then the next project is Intergenerational Bridges, which was a really exciting project we were able to do, which expanded on our Climate Elders campaign. And this time we were able to scale it in 3 cities in Nigeria, so Abuja, Abia, and Lagos. And it was designed to understand and address the psychosocial impacts of climate change within Nigerian communities, especially recognizing the importance of elders and youth and what rich conversations can happen if we create spaces for them to be together. So to do this, we employed a participatory research intervention conducted over 3 geopolitical zones. And so the participants included youth aged 18 to 35 and elders aged 50 and above. And luckily we'll have a speaker who will speak more into that, which is really exciting. And the dialogues were designed to explore eco-anxiety, environmental memories, resilient strategies, and community solutions. Next slide, please. So we have a few outcomes that came from it. So one of them is that eco-anxiety in Nigeria is rooted in environmental degradation, systemic inequality, cultural erosion, and social disconnection. The second is that it's shaped by structural barriers, so governance challenges and the loss of indigenous knowledge systems. Also, that eco-anxiety reflects broader cultural and environmental crisis, highlighting the need for collective systemic solutions rather than isolated individual coping strategies. And lastly, that intergenerational collaboration bridges traditional wisdom and modernity, creating a cultural grounded yet forward-looking pathway to resilient and sustainable climate action. And luckily, because we have built a research paper from this. So in the next coming months, we'll be able to share these findings and what it gave us from the 3 separate cities we were in. So the next project that we were able to do this year is Zen Guardians. And again, Peleni will talk more into that, which is really exciting. So Zen Guardians is the train the trainer component of Zen Cafes. So today you just had a snippet of a Zen Cafe, but we wanted to scale that. So what we did was we trained 12 young people in South Africa, Uganda, and Nigeria, and provided them with the necessary skills to be climate leaders and host their own Zen Cafe sessions in their communities. So as we know, Susty Vibes and TEAP is mainly situated in Nigeria, but we know that eco-anxiety is experienced across Africa. So what we're hoping is that through Zen Guardians, we can give young people the ability to host these Zen cafes in their communities and places that we can't reach, and really just scale the impact. And we're really lucky to work with Taylor, who's also on the call, Gaio, to really expand what we're doing. So the method was 9 weeks of capacity building sessions, step-by-step guidance enabling participants to confidently facilitate a Zen Cafe session. We gave participants a micro grant to support them in facilitating their own Zen cafes, and then certificates to validate their skills as climate conversation facilitators. Next slide. So there's a lot of outcomes, but one of the two main ones is just empowering 12 young Africans with the knowledge and capacity to host climate cafes in their communities. So we had six Zen Cafe sessions, which were hosted in Durban, Kampala, and Lagos. And again, we're building an impact report to really share what happened through our Zen Guardians cohort 1, but you can also hear more from Peleni today. Thank you very much, Mary.
Yeah, thank you so much, Svetlana. Every time I hear about the work we do at TEAP, I still get excited. I still get super excited about that. And I'm just really grateful for the work that we've done this year. Next, we'll be having our speakers join us. Apologies, I think Merit dropped off. Um, yeah, okay. But not to waste our time, I will just go ahead to invite our speakers to the floor. Um, all right, thank you, Latifa. All right. So yeah, I'll just invite our speakers in. We are having Dr. Stephen first. Like Svetlana mentioned earlier, Dr. Stephen worked with us on the Impact Project. So Dr. Stephen is a social and environmental psychologist at the University of Nottingham. And then after Dr. Stephen, we'll have our climate elder Love Umoetuk, who will also be sharing her experience with us during the intergenerational bridges program that we had in Lagos earlier this year. Finally, we'll have Peleni, who is a Zen guardian and also hosted a Zen cafe in Durban, South Africa last month. So super exciting. We've been sharing our stories and we'll just hand over to people who we've collaborated with so far to also give their own perspective of their work with us. Yeah, so over to you, Dr. Stephen.
Thank you very much, Ayo. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you see my screen as well?
Yes, I can.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, everyone who's joined us today. It's really exciting to listen to everything that TEAP and Susty Vibes in general have been doing, particularly the intergenerational project. I mean, I'm really interested in that, and I think I heard Svet say something about publications coming out of that. So, I mean, as an academic, I look forward to reading that. Yeah, so this year and probably some years before as well, I think I first came into contact with my first contact with Susty Vibes was sometime in 2023, I think. Yeah, so independently, I've worked with them, but much more importantly now, I work with them as in the capacity of my role as a research fellow at the University of Nottingham, where I work with Dr. Charles, who you'll hear more about as I go on. So impact, which Svetlana has, given some insights into already, stands for interdisciplinary mental health perspectives on adaptation to climate threats. Now, impact is a project that is sponsored by the Canadian government. Sorry, the slides were not working, and all of a sudden they all moved. All right, so it's a very sort of large research collaboration across 57 experts in over 10 countries. And the brain behind all of that was this lady on the screen, Professor Shirley Harper, who is in Canada and who pulled all of us together to get this grant. And yeah, so she's leading the overall work. And the vision for Impact is to build mental health resilience by mainstreaming equity into all climate policies and decisions. And we wanted to do this through community engagement and to be deliberative and model techniques that weave local experiences with global knowledge, synthesis. And the key there for us and why Sustain Vibes was our go-to is the fact that they've also, had this um, grassroots sort of, interaction with people on ground. And so that local experience was really key for us. And we reached out to Sustain Vibes to continue our collaborations with them. And so we wanted to move beyond simple climate mental health pathways to really understand climate change is happening, but it's not happening in isolation. And I'm really glad Svetlana mentioned some of those inequities that were picked up in the process of their research on that intergenerational. So climate change cascades, into impact. It's not happening in isolation. It's happening alongside poverty. It's happening alongside racism for us in the UK and other parts of the world. It's happening alongside economic crashes. It's happening alongside, and even when it's happening in itself, it's cascading from floodings to bad yield of crops for farmers and all that. So we're really interested in seeing how that cascading event occurs and whether the risks become compounded, and for people who are most vulnerable, what that means. And to answer the question, what makes climate risks really severe across cultures? There are a lot of cultures who have lived with climate change all their lives, so much that they might have become numbed to the impacts of climate change. There are other cultures, especially across the global minority, who are just waking up to the impacts of climate change. But for the fact that they are just waking up doesn't mean it's just beginning to happen. Climate change for most people in Africa and the global majority and the global north has been a lived reality for several years. So we wanted to isolate and understand what really is a risk and how does it vary across different cultures. And we also wanted to understand how climate adaptation itself can harm mental health, because it's one thing to want to try to adapt to climate change, and that's what everybody tells people, you have to adapt to this thing. But in what ways can trying to adapt itself be, a maladaptive coping mechanism and impact people's mental health adversely? Basically, that's what the overall vision, method, and innovation regarding impact was. And the UK and West Africa team has been led by myself and Charles. That's Charles over there. And we had two case studies. The first case study is one which we've really worked with TEAPs and Sustain Vibes. So I'm not going to talk much about that because Fet has really mentioned that already. But Sustain Vibes has really been helpful, really, really useful to us through this period. They've been patient with us through the process of getting the grant signed and getting the contract signed to them. Really, really patient people, and we appreciate them for that. And what we're doing with this case study, like Sven already said, is to understand what responses to climate change and mental health impacts look like among young people in rapidly growing cities. And for that, we chose Accra in Ghana and Lagos in Nigeria. And so Sustain Vibes and TEAPS helped in, canoeing together a very experienced group of advisory board who helped look through us. Generally, are overseeing the project as we carry them along, but they've been very impactful in looking through our interview schedules and giving, um, expert opinions on what we should do and what we should not do. Sustain Vibes has also been very helpful in recruiting participants. They were instrumental in getting the research assistants I would have had to come all the way to Ghana and Nigeria to do all the case interviews myself, but Sister Vibes were really helpful in recruiting really brilliant and trained research assistants who did that data collection for us. And at the moment, they're currently editing the transcript, which I think they should be done by Friday. And so that's where we are at that project at the moment. So that sort of sums up what we've been doing with Subsivibes for from January till this time. And but which is not just we didn't just begin in January, which sort of started several years ago. But yeah, in summary, it's really been wonderful working with Subsivibes, working with TEAPS, and Ayo and Jennifer and Svet. Svet was here in it was in September, right, and gave us a talk when we had a conference on environmental psychology. And yeah, it was really interesting to have that. And the project spans on, we plan much more work with them in the future next year as well. We're looking at a large scale survey of many West African countries, and we plan to continue to work with Sustainable and TEAPS. So thank you very much. And yeah, I'm not going to take more time than I'm supposed to, but it's been really wonderful working with Tips, Vet, Ayo, Jennifer, and the rest of the team. So yeah, I will just end that. And just thank you very much. That's all from
Yeah,
me.
thank you so much, Dr. Steven. Like, I'm literally blushing. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. It's also been very exciting working with you and expanding our knowledge and expertise around, reaching out to people and meeting people. It's been a journey, like Dr. Steven said, and we are still, ongoing, but it's been a very rewarding journey so far. Definitely our results will be more rewarding. Yeah, so I'll pass now to Elder Love to share our experience with us during the Intergenerational Bridges project. Over to you, Ma. I can see you, Ma, and you are unmuted.
Thank you for having me over. As an elder, we don't share screen, so I will just talk from my experience with working with Vibe and TEAP. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Love Umoituk, a retired high school teacher interested in climatic changes. Are you hearing me? Are
Yes,
you hearing
loud
me?
and clear, Ma. Please go on.
Okay. I say I'm Love Umoituk, joining from Lagos, an elder that has been involved in the studies involving intergenerational conversations about effects of climate change, especially as mental health and our psychological well-being. I first participated in TEAP program in 2023, I suppose, when we discussed elders and younger ones, we discussed the effect the climate changes or ecological changes are having on our well-being. And during that conversation, it was established that actually Africans or Nigerians are experiencing eco-anxiety as a result of climate changes that are induced by excessive rainfall and increase in temperature. And also that some level of anxiety that we feel as a result of some level of anxiety, some level of agitation, frustration, despair that we feel as a result of climate changes that are taking place within our environment. And during that conversation, it was like the younger ones were blaming the older ones, of excessive consumerism, of carelessness in managing environmental factors. And they were like, we didn't do well. At one point, the older one, we had to apologize to the younger ones that we are sorry that whatever effects we made on climate change, it was not deliberate, it was not intentional. And we also charge them, since we have failed in managing the environment the way we are supposed to have managed it, and we have seen the consequences, they being the younger ones should be able to do better. They should be able to look at the things we have done, which has caused the environment, which has caused climate change, that they should, in their own way of life, reduce the consequences if they can. And also, another conversation we had early this year about the intergenerational discussion, also on well-being of people. It was also established, for example, that during that conversation, that ecological changes are actually affecting people's way of life. It's affecting interpersonal relationships. It's also affecting people's emotions. And a participant during that conversation gave example of how waste generated, waste disposal, which is part of pollution, which causes climate change, how waste disposal pitched her against her neighbor, and emotions were raised, and words were said that shouldn't have been said, and interpersonal relationships were affected, all because of waste management or waste disposal. A participant also during that May discussion said something about how increase in temperature made her to quarrel with her sister because she was so hot and the sister was nagging on something else. But because of that heat that she was feeling, she had to quarrel with her sister and emotions were high. So from these conversations, I came to realize that actually increase in temperature, increase in flooding, and other ecological changes are affecting people's behavior, and they're affecting lifestyle, they're affecting emotions, they're affecting interpersonal relationships. It was also during this conversation that I realized that actually some of the things that people do, like we in Lagos here, when we enter bus, especially during this heat season, people are just agitated, people behave abnormally, let me put it that way. People are aggressive, any little thing, it triggers people. Actually, it could be as a result of increase in temperature, not necessarily because of any other thing. So also during this conversation with TEAP, I have come to realize that there is need for people to develop skills to cope with climate changes. And some of these skills, like we discussed during the conversation in May, could be having a positive mindset, where you just decide, I'm not the only one, it's affecting every other person. So with that positive mindset, you are able to cope, and you can also decide to talk to people about how you are feeling. This heat is too much, it's making me not to concentrate, it's making me irritated, it's bringing all the wrong emotions in me, making me angry, it's making me frustrated. When you share, that could help you to calm down. That could also help you to look towards positive, or you can even still take more direct action. We discussed that when we take direct action, like planting trees, we know the effect of trees. They remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and they increase oxygen in the air. We can also take direct action in making sure that waste are removed from the streets. And when we see people dumping waste where they are not supposed to, we can cancel them. Those are some of the actions that we can take that will help in the overall management of the environment so that everybody will feel well. In recommendation, I am a trained teacher and educational psychologist dealing with well-being of students, emotional well-being of students, their psychological well-being. As a researcher or as an educationist, I will recommend that the TEAP and the TEAP convener and her team look at designing a research that would look and document the effects of climate changes in learners. That is to design an experiment in which the psychological effects of climate change on learners can be explored and documented. We know it's affecting learners, but let us look at it so that we document it and it could be a reference paper that, yes, this has been documented and references could be made out of it. It has been wonderful participating with TEAP, and I hope in the future we will still participate, and that as God lives, we in Africa, we believe in God. As God lives, more research will be done so that we see what we can do to mitigate more of effects of climate, especially on people's psychological well-being. Thank you, team members, for the privilege of asking me to speak. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Ma. Like, I'm really grateful. I was just nodding while you were speaking, and just to piggyback on what Elder Love said, the apology that came from elders, during our conversation was spearheaded by her, and it was just shocking. Like, as a Nigerian, and I feel maybe Africa in general, like it's always like elders rarely apologize, and when she did that, it was really outfelt, from like I could really feel that she was genuine about it, and she and the other cohort of elders so far, have even multiplied their action around this, and this is what we want. But not to take too much time, I'm going to hand over to our final speaker, Paleni, who will be speaking more to our experience as a Zen Guardian. Over to you, Paleni.
Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
That's perfect. All right. So, as Ayo introduced me, my name is Palini Iyer, or you can call me Pal for short if it's easier. And I consider myself a social climate activist. And a fraction of my time I spend usually speaking about, for, and regarding youth climate activism. And I'm so glad to be chosen to speak today regarding the similar matter. And my 9 to 5 is a data manager. I'm also based in KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, South Africa. And I've recently joined Zen Guardians as a fellow through the Eco Anxiety Africa Project's Zen Guardian program. And as you can see in the slide, I was one of the 12 young people in South Africa and Uganda, Nigeria, who was a part of the Zen Guardians. This has been like a 9-week journey of mine, and more, as I'm here today speaking about it. So the journey hasn't ended yet. And yeah, I was involved in virtual learning, mindfulness practices, networking with fellow young Africans in the eco-anxiety space. And as a participant of mindfulness initiatives in my past experience with eco-anxiety, in the international space and in the national space, I could tell that, like in my previous experiences, I was one of 6 international youth leaders who were selected to be at a panel at the Y20 pre-summit in Brazil. And I'm also currently a part of the Roots People Wellbeing Ambassador Network. In both of these experiences, I noticed that an opportunity to be engaged in conversations that lead up to coping with eco-anxiety. And I was the only African out of the 6 international youth who were selected to speak. And I mean, it was at an international stage, but it's very rare to give Africans the opportunity. So when I first heard about this, Zen Guardians, mainly on my feed online, and also from our wonderful climate leader for Zen Guardians, Talon, who also shared this opportunity with many of us here in Durban. I was amazed to see it come up on my feed. As I could see, it was full on for Africans by Africans, and I was so encouraged to join as a fellow youth climate leader. And I also remember being interviewed as well and being introduced to this whole program with more depth than what was provided online. And yeah, it is quite amazing and very rare. And from my experience for like the past couple of years, I could say I'm honored to have been part of this and that it's only for Africans. Okay, so yeah, I'm amazed because it's a Pan-African initiative and it's focusing on mindfulness teachings along with enlightening the participants on how to host their own Zen cafes. And if that isn't enough, aside from learning and learning to host our own, we were also provided with financial grants as compensation just to participate, along with hosting our very own cafes with the teachings, and we could host them comfortably because we were financially provided the knowledge to host and to host financially. Yeah, we were supported, and yeah, which is beyond amazing. Barely ever happens in Africa, providing funding and support to host it. So I'm very glad to have been part of that. And regarding the online sessions, every week I would look forward to engage with the youth from other countries in Africa, as I was intrigued to see that I was not only alone in the journey of like being the only African in various international spaces, but also facing a climate activism with a wave of various emotions, and almost every single participant was directly affected by climate change. Again, if I have to reference my international experience, not every participant has experienced it directly. It's always an awareness or of climate change and environmental impact, but never directly impacted from it and feeling the emotions that we feel as Africans or people from the Southern Hemisphere. And I was intrigued to see others that who are directly impacted and feeling similar emotions as I am and having difficulty facing them and hosting our own events. I would also learn that there are many other passionate individuals in the space who have been contributing towards climate change activism as youth in various different ways and also have been coping with eco-anxiety for a while as well. It was also like very bittersweet moment because aside from bringing us together, it was quite sad that all of us are currently directly impacted by it. But that is what is important. And the Zen Guardians program helped bring all of us together in one space and build a relationship and stability with one another and network with one another to help each other build, grow, and learn from the space emotionally and also with the education provided. From my personal experience prior to attending the Zen Guardians program, it was difficult for me to come out of my shell in a new space with unknown individuals and to have personal discussions regarding my emotions. But after learning with everyone, and I started to feel more comfortable as everyone was sharing their inner feelings about certain things. I was like, okay, I feel more comfortable. And what I learned mainly was how to work in a team, conflict resolution, time management, listening skills, and also learning about various leadership styles, which I did mention before I joined to my leader that that is what I really needed to learn about, and to see it come about in the sessions, very, very detailed. And I know a lot of the other participants were very interested to learn about it too. It was, yeah, it was amazing. My leadership style is democratic, if anyone wants to know. And yeah, and I'm very like more confident now to be in these kind of open spaces to speak about how the truth about my feelings and acknowledge it and also help others explore this. I cannot wait to share more about this to anyone else who wants to like delve in deeper. I'm like ready now. Prior to the event, I was not ready. I was like, I do not want to speak. It's difficult, but now I'm more than happy to. And yeah, so my Zen cafe that I hosted with my lovely, amazing partner, Tokozo, um, I I did host events prior to this regarding eco-anxiety and mental health with various other organizations, but this was the first time I had to work with a partner, and I had to step back and be like, okay, even though I have experiences, it's your first time. You also need to shine. It's your first event, and I had to like work hand in hand with my partner and let her shine as well. And so I made sure I mentioned her today. And yeah, it was amazing working with her. She had wonderful ideas, and I feel like we worked really well together, and our paths aligned very well as well. And the fact that we were both based in Durban, we have both been impacted almost equally by the natural disasters here. We've had floods and tornadoes, and we've both been like affected by them. And we did share about it during our Zen Cafe. And yeah, so what I can take away from our Zen Cafe that the participants who were there, who were also based in the area and who are new to the climate eco-anxiety space. They were all in the climate activism space as youth, but eco-anxiety is also very rare, and they were very grateful that they had an opportunity to just unwind, relax, and we used art in our session. And so they were just sometimes with laughter and conversation, but also in silence, just embracing their emotions and just sitting and just reflecting and also sharing afterwards. From the session, we could all see that we were all struggling with something one way or another. And we had a deeper understanding with one another, aside from both, okay, we're in the same space. We now know where each of us are coming from and how we're all deeply affected by the disasters in Dublin and other social injustice issues. And if we had to work together again, we have a deeper understanding and a stronger base, and we all see where we're all coming from. And I have to also mention my fellow participants from the Zen Guardians, Sayuran and Cindy. Their session was also amazing, and I was there. I participated, and I was helping them with photography. And hey, Cindy, and they also their creativity was phenomenal. And I could see lots of youth who were interested and share their feelings as well during the session. And it really shows the importance of acknowledging mental health and mindfulness in the space. And it yeah, it was really wonderful being there for the second session as well. As a participant and as a host, I've had a wonderful experience with the Zen Cafe. Um, and I also, while prior to my event and organizing alongside the logistics, I managed to reflect personally on the climate disasters and well as well. And now every time I look back at it, yes, it is quite sad of the loss and damage that we've experienced in Durban, but now I'm seeing I bring it up in a lot of my activities and events, especially the Zen Guardian, where I was reflecting on it the most. I don't feel as much as all those negative emotions when I look back to it as I do now. I look at it with somewhat positivity and how I can learn and grow from it and help others deal with similar situations who have trauma or stress when they look at events that affect them emotionally in the past. And if I can, may I please thank Ayo, Svetlana, and Merit, the Zen Guardians team for the wonderful sessions they have provided me throughout. And especially thank you to Talon, who was helping us above and beyond with help that we didn't even need help with. He was ready to do anything for us, and the guidance and support is amazing. Thank you, guys. Why are you laughing, Talon? Thank you for always being there for us.
Thank
And
you.
I truly appreciate it. And also, thank you for letting me speak on behalf of the Zen Guardians cohort. I'm so grateful for this. And yeah, it was wonderful. Thank you, everyone.
Cute. Thank you so much, Paleni. Really grateful for your share. Like it's been a journey, like, and it's been a lot. And like we can keep speaking about this, like there's never enough time. But thank you definitely for your share. It was wonderful listening to the program from your perspective again. Because of time, I'll pass over to Svetlana now to share, briefly what we'll be up to in 2026. You've all heard testimonials from our collaborators this year, so I guess you can trust us that we are going to do way better, more impactful work next year. Yeah, so over to you, Svetlana.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again to Dr. Stephen, Elder Love, and Palani. Like, it's been really incredible to hear from all of you. And a lot of the work we do is not for us, but rather the impact we can make through what we do. So just hearing it's really inspiring. And again, thank you to Aya, Merit, Nansel, and Jenna for the work that we've done collectively to be able to carry these out is so inspiring. So yeah, so now that we've heard about what we've done in 2025, we're also going to speak about what we have planned for 2026, which we hope to be even more impactful on scale, even more of the work that we're doing, which is exciting. So the first is Zen Guardians. So this year we've been able to go to South Africa, Nigeria, and Uganda. And the plan is to go to 3 new countries and explore 3 new cities where we can scale our work and scale Zen cafes. So what we're thinking is in 2026, we will implement year 2, and we're going to recruit a second cohort of young African climate activists from 3 new cities. And we're going to build on the lessons, the feedback and successes of our first cohort so that participants who undergo training in year 2 will be able to drive even more impact. And we're really excited to welcome a new class of Zen Guardians who will expand TEAP's reach, expand well-being across the continent, and help us to drive community-led change. Next slide, please. So we heard from Elder Love about the impact of intergenerational conversations, and even Aya mentioning the impact when she attended. And we just want to scale that again. We want to demonstrate the transformative impact of bringing elders and youth together, and what happens when we create this space to share experiences and visions for a just and sustainable future. We believe as a team that these conversations evidence how intergenerational dialogue is really key for inclusive climate solutions. So we're hoping through additional funding that we're able to evolve the project into actionable intergenerational sustainability projects that can fuel even more long-term community resilience across Nigeria. Next slide, please. So we've been making a TEAP documentary for the past year, and 2026 will mark the premiere of the Eco-Anxiety Africa documentary. So what we've been doing is collecting interviews, reviewing footage, and just trying to shape a really compelling narrative that reflects the scale of our work at TEAP, but most importantly, the lived realities of eco-anxiety amongst young Africans across the continent. So even what we've heard on the call today from across Nigeria and also South Africa, eco-anxiety exists, and we want to create a documentary that shows that. And we will host special screenings as well through this. And these screenings will create spaces for dialogue and reflection. and amplify African youth voices and ensure that their experiences of climate anxiety is seen, heard, and taken seriously. So just stay in tune on our social medias, and hopefully when that's finished and those screenings are taking place, we'll be able to see all of you there. Another plan for 2026 is to continue doing webinars like this one. So we want to expand our webinar series because it is a really important platform for connection, knowledge sharing, and community engagement across the Africa climate and health ecosystem. So what we want to do is continue sharing in-depth findings from our research and from our projects, but also create webinars that are an interactive hub for dialogue, collaboration, and learning. So we want to strengthen our networks, exchange ideas, and just continue advancing our mission of increasing mental well-being, resilience, and capacity building across the continent. Next slide, please. So advocacy and awareness is key, even as Palani mentioned, that even though we may experience eco-anxiety, mental health stigma can make it difficult for us to recognize what we're feeling and also speak about it. So we want to build on the growing recognition of mental health, especially after COP30, where the Belém Health Action Plan was established. We want to pursue basically a two-pronged advocacy and awareness strategy. So we want to continue engaging key stakeholders, including policymakers, so we can better understand how mental health resilience can be integrated into climate adaptation frameworks. And we also want to continue to lead community-based advocacy and awareness efforts, whether that's through digital campaigns, community-led initiatives like Zen Cafes, and just create accessible pathways for people to learn about eco-anxiety, recognize their own experiences, and also have the ability to seek support. So we believe that taking this two-step approach is key to strengthening collective care. Next slide, please. And last but not least is research. So as Dr. Stephen mentioned, research is key. There is still a gap we're trying to bridge when it comes to evidence of eco-anxiety and the uniqueness of it on the continent. So research is a core pillar for our work, and our initiatives will continue to produce research outputs, ensuring that lived experiences are documented. And through this work, as I mentioned, we're trying to bridge a critical evidence gap and just amplify the voices of young Africans, contributing African-led insights to global conversations on climate change, mental health, and resilience. So those are just a few of the plans TEAP has for 2026. And you can stay in touch with us to be able to engage in our projects, in our research, and also share our works through LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. And we'll share those as well. So thank you so much. So I'll now pass on to Nansel.
Thank you so much, Svetlana. Thank you for laying out what's ahead for TEAP in 2026. My name is Nansel Samuel, and I am the research assistant at the Eco-Anxiety Africa TEAP. At this point, we'd love to hear from you. A lot have been said for the past hour, and I'm sure you might be having some questions, or you need clarifications, or you want to share some insights or reflections that you have that you want to share in the course of this webinar. So this is the opportunity, this is the time for you to share. So whether you have a question, a reflection, or even a curiosity spark by something you heard earlier, we'd love to get it from you now. Or if you're not comfortable to share, you could drop on the chat box. Does anyone have anything? Any questions? Any takeaways? Yeah, there you go, Emeka. Emeka, you can go on now.
Yeah, all right, good. Can you hear and see me, please? Right. So my name is Emeka Christian, and I'm one of the trainees from this year's Zen Guidance training. And I must confess, it's a delight to have been part of the pioneer trainees from Nigeria. So my experience was, I mean, I've never learned to give name to what I feel about the climate, and it was an eye-opening experience for me going through the training, and of course, getting to introduce this concept to my community, who before now never knew what eco-anxiety is all about, or what to even call what they're feeling and all of that. So it was both enlightening and it was eye-opening. So I want to say big thank you to Susty Vibe. So my question quickly is what are the modalities for engaging the people who have already been trained? I know that the initial speakers have hinted on it. So what are the modalities for engaging with those of us who have been trained? Because for me, I want to hold Zen Cafe sessions going forward for different groups of persons. So, what are some of the modalities of engagement going forward? So, I just wanted to be clear on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emeka. That's an interesting question. So, Ayo, would you like to step in, or Svetlana?
Yes, so I can share. So our plan is hopefully you received an email. What's really important for us is to co-design with cohort one how we can stay in touch, because we don't want to create a way of staying in touch that doesn't serve the cohort. So if you haven't received that form, then please let us know and we can resend it. But again, it's been incredible to hear how impactful the Zen Cafe session was. And that's something that you can mention in the form, because what we're trying to understand is the best way to give you the tools to continue making Zen cafes in your communities, and also feedback the impact of those Zen cafes so we can scale our work. So what I'll do after is, if you haven't received the email, I'll send it back to you so that we can make sure that we're co-designing the next steps for cohort one.
Okay, my sister in this one, he also dropped a question in the chat on if the program will continue next year in South Africa. And I think Svetlana already answered that with a comment. So, like, basically just let us know. And that will also inform how we design and the locations that we'll decide for next year. So, any more questions, comments? We've run past time. All right. If we have none at the moment, you can always reach out to us via social media, which we'll share our link shortly. But we are on social media, tip.africa on all channels. You can also check our website, tip.sustivibes.org. Yeah, and you can get in touch with us also via email, which you'll also see on our socials. Right now, I'll hand over to Jennifer, who is the founder of Susty Vibes and TEAP, to give the closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ayo, and a big thank you to everyone for taking out time today to join. As Aya mentioned, my name is Jennifer, and I'm the founder of Susty Vibes and kind of overseeing all of the work that we do at TEAP. I was literally just reflecting as everyone spoke, whether Dr. Stephen, Paleni, and Elder Love, about how almost 10 years ago when I started Susty Vibes, we had to explain to a lot of people what we're trying to do, this idea of making sustainability cool, fun, and relatable for young people. And now coming back to the work that we do at TEAP, also an emerging but yet extremely important conversation. And we're here as sort of pioneers, saying this is the first time this is being done. And we're really doing some important work. And I hope we can all reflect on that, about how important this work is, how exciting it is to be doing it at this point, on the backdrop of a lot of really negative things happening in the sustainability space globally and locally. I am so proud of my team. Nansel, Ayo, Merit, Vetlana, you all have done amazing. Beyond the work that we had done 10 years ago, where it was just me starting out trying to call volunteers to do XY. Now I have this support system, amazing, smart and passionate people who are really about this work. And I think every founder's dream is to have such support system. And to you all for joining, our stakeholders, our elders, our research collaborators, we're really grateful. And it's so exciting to see all of the plans that we have in the new year. And I hope you will continue to join us on this journey. Thank you so much. And I think from us, it's later, and we'll catch up in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever celebration. Happy New Year in advance. Bye. Thank you all.
Thank you.